Hi everyone, this is Kelsey, Kelsey Lips. This is my first Photoshop tutorial and I'm excited to get started because I've had a few requests for help with Photoshop and I'm happy to help. I've had 7 years of experience and I love doing it, so this is going to be fun. And I hope you guys can benefit from this tutorial. So I'm going to start here. This is what my images normally look like. They're funny, as you can see. My images are I always flip them. So what I do is I go to image. We're going to crop my image first. And I go to image rotation and flip my canvas horizontally. And this is how I like to have my images. If you have words or something on your picture and you drew it in the mirror and it looks backwards when you took your picture, this is a great way to flip it and make the words so they're going the right direction. That's if you're okay with your image being flipped. So then I'm going to go to my crop tool by pressing C. And I'm going to draw just a basic box around what I'm going to capture. Now, if you see my pictures, they're usually, like this, and that's how I like to crop my images. Then if you press Command 0, you can get the full screen of the image. Now, I already started working on mine before I realized I should probably start this tutorial. Okay, so diving right in, I'm going to, the first thing I like to do is I like to grab the J, press J on your keyboard, or over here, here's the self-healing tool. And then I like to go in and using the left and right brackets. That's how you make it bigger and smaller, or you can go all the way up here and adjust the size of your brush. So I have one hand on my mouse pad and another hand on my brackets, and I adjust the size just with my left hand. It's the easiest, and then so all you do is you click and drag. Pores here that you can see, don't want to see that. All I'm doing is clicking on them and they will disappear. Make sure you have up here content aware clicked so that it'll make your correction look like everything around. Alright, and then sometimes I'll go in here if there's a sparkle or something that's out of place that I don't want, like say over here, like adding texture that I don't want. So next, what I'm going to do is, see this little spot right here? I want this all to look the same. So I'm going to grab my stamp tool by either pressing S on my keyboard or going over here and pressing this tool right here. Oh, sorry, the clone tool. Yeah, clone, stamp tool, whatever. And then I'm going to, I want this area to look more like this. So what I'm going to do is press A, and see how that changed there? I'm going to press A and then click on the area that I want it to look like. And then see how you have a little sample of what it looks like over here. You can go up to your opacity and you can make the opacity as much as you want. 100% opacity, it's going to look right up to the same brightness. If you I prefer to lower the opacity so it looks more natural. And then you can go over here and change the hardness of the brush. See what I did there? If you make it 100% hard, then it's going to leave stark edges. But if you make the hardness lower, then it's going to be more blurred and it'll blend in more naturally. So I'm just going to draw right here. I'm just pressing the mouse pad, just clicking. And there you have it. Now it looks a little more filled in because I didn't really like that dark gap right there. Now, so this looks more realistic, I'm going to go here. I don't think there's a shortcut for the sharpening tool, so I just click on it. So this is the sharpening tool. You also have a blur tool and a smudge tool. I usually just use a sharpening tool, and then I'm going to go over that spot and sharpen it up. Also using the brackets to make the brush bigger or smaller. And see how it kind of blends in right there? Lastly, I'm going to blend it in more right here by grabbing the eyedropper tool by pressing I or going over here, and I'm going to click. See how this color is like a dark purpley, like it's something. I'm going to select that and then go back to my brush tool by pressing B on my keyboard or going over here and clicking on it. And I'm going to, with a low opacity and a low hardness, I'm going to blend that into here so that it looks more natural. Didn't really like it, so I pressed Command Z, or you can go up here, Edit, Undo, and then back over to my sharpening tool, sharpen it just a little bit, and there we go. So now I'm going to do sharpen tool all over just to make this look as metallic as it can be, because it looks pretty metallic in person and I want it to look the best it can in my pictures. There we go. And now for the second biggest tool that I use, I'm going to press Filter and click Liquify, or the shortcut is Shift Command X. So this takes me to a whole nother screen, and if I want to zoom in, I can press the magnifying glass tool and I can either draw a box around it and it'll zoom into that particular spot, or I can press Command plus or Command minus to zoom in and out, and that's what I usually use as a shortcut tool. So what I do for this in the Liquify tool is I want these edges to be much sharper. So I'm going to go over here to my pucker tool and I'm going to, with a big brush, also using the bracket tools to make it larger and smaller, I'm going to sharpen the edges right here. So this, I'm just very carefully drawing on the edge and making sure that it's puckering right at that edge to get it as sharp as I possibly can. Now there are many different ways of doing this, of sharpening up your edges, but this is, I think, the easiest, because you also don't want to do it too much because then everything will look pinched, but you want to do it just enough so you can get a sharp line. And also another thing that I need to say is, don't worry about making it look perfect right now, because you're going to fix that up later if you're using this puckering tool. Alright, now I'm going to go to the main tool, which is the forward warp tool, or W on your keyboard, and that's when I fix up my edges. So again, using the bracket tool, the brackets on your keyboard to make it smaller or larger, or you can go over here and you can also adjust the pressure, but I never really play with this stuff. So yeah, I just use the brackets to push on the edges, push and pull on the edges to make it that perfect shape that you want. And see right here, I pulled on the edge of the canvas, so I actually have to make my brush smaller so it doesn't touch the lip, but it just touches the skin. I gotta pull that back. Still making the brush smaller just so that it fits in there. Making it bigger. And you won't really see that. See, if you zoom in, you can't really tell that the skin has been stretched. So you want to make sure that when you are using this Liquify tool, that you are not showing that you're stretching things around. Okay, that was the end of part 1. I'll be uploading parts 2 and 3 shortly after. I hope this was informative for you, and I will see you soon.